Welcome to the channel, everyone. I'm Skratch. This is another Dragonheir Silent Gods video. Today, I'm gonna share with you guys a team that will be able to defeat every single one of the poem dungeons. Once more onto the Tales of Forest, once more onto the Final of Plains, once more onto the Gloomland Showdown, and once more onto Battle of the Two Towers, because we are in Season 2 at the moment. This video is sponsored by Dragonheir, so I just want to say a big thank you to them for sponsoring today's video. And if you guys are new to the channel or you haven't tried Dragonheir Silent Gods just yet, you can download the game by using my link in the description down below or in the pinned comment or by scanning the QR code you see on the screen. Plus, like this, you get to help and support the channel as well, which, by the way, I really appreciate. Season 2 is coming to an end, guys. We are currently waiting for Season 3. Super excited. I cannot wait to dive into all of the new things. Friday, guys, we will have access to everything that's new on test servers, so definitely stay tuned for that. And of course, expect to see a stream on Saturday, guys, on Twitch TV, on this YouTube channel as well, so definitely keep an eye open for that. Talking about one of the best teams that will enable you to tackle all of these dungeons without changing any gear, without changing any heroes whatsoever. Now we have 4 different dungeons. The reason why it's so important to farm these bosses every single week, guys, is because you will have access to the Bard's Banquet shop. This will allow you to purchase Master Scrolls, Scholar Scrolls, Apprentice Scrolls, Starlight Stone Dice, and this is the #1 best free-to-play method to get scrolls in Dragonheir Silent Gods weekly, okay? So you gotta make sure you are collecting a lot of legendary poems. Now let me just quickly show you how the team works. So we're gonna go against the Green Dragon, the Emerald Dragon first. We're gonna do this on the highest difficulties on each one of these dungeons, guys. So we're gonna use a team that will not bring in any legendary heroes whatsoever. I'm actually not using this. I'm gonna go with this one right here. We have Sigrid, the #1 rare champion in Dragonheir Silent Gods. We have Nathaniel, we have Yola, which can be replaced, for example, by an Irina, which is another awesome rare champion. We have Hexandra, and we have Frerbart. Now I decided to go for Poison and Lightning in this video, guys. Of course, you will be able to create a similar team from each one of the elemental affinity combinations, you know, so either you're going Radiance and Frost, either you're going Necrosis and Fire, you're still going to be able to achieve some pretty good results with any of the elemental affinities. Now, when we are talking about gear, guys, I have one legendary artifact on Sigrid, which is the one that you're getting from the Feymender. Honestly, is not a necessity to use that legendary artifact. I just like to use it because I got it recently and I just want to make the most out of it. You know, it's an amazing legendary artifact that you guys can get by defeating the Feymender in Season 2. And that's what we're using on the rest. The #1 key tip in here, guys, is to have at least 2 Moonlight sets. This will actually increase the healing. Having an Ancestral Protection set on your tank is going to be very impactful, because not only that he will reduce the damage from the entire team and soak it in, but he will have a 15% damage reduction himself, you know, which is going to be massive. Crown of the Unclean, we have the Incense Burner, we have the Antinaias Tiara, and of course we have the Luminary Order Gospel. In terms of skill timing, guys, we can actually sort something out just to make sure we're keeping the decreased attack at different intervals. So I'm not gonna stress with Sigrid. I want her to fire as often as possible. Frerbart starts at 11.5, and I can put Yola, for example, at 21.5. There we go. So 10 seconds gap. I know they have different skill haste. They might kind of like overlap or stuff like that, so it's not a problem. We're gonna keep them as they are, and let's start with the very first one. The good thing here is that we can use all of the auras from all of the heroes, because these are considered dungeons. So of course, I'm gonna go and grab Furbart's aura to get more defense. I can use food as well, so I'm gonna get more defense and some extra accuracy, just in case if I'm slacking a bit of accuracy in here. Now, because I'm using this team with Frerbart, I kind of like wanna stack the team together, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put Nathaniel in the middle. He actually has this skill that basically will go around him to give me recovery over time and a cleanse. That can be pretty helpful. And let's start with the very first dungeon. And we have 3 more to do, guys. And the more legendary poems we're collecting, the more things we can purchase from the Bard store, which is honestly, how I mentioned, the #1 free-to-play method to collect scrolls in a Dragonheir. And scrolls are extremely important for all of your heroes, especially if you want them to perform really, really well. Now, this boss right here is a tricky pony because when you think that you defeated him, he's coming back, okay? He's coming back to fight you again, basically. So see, I actually haven't watched his animation in a long time. I was gonna say he has a pretty slow animation there. So bang, we start with Sigrid. We have that decrease attack. Every single one of the heroes has enough accuracy to land the debuff. It's not necessarily mandatory for it, but it's definitely going to be pretty helpful. Now, how you may notice, because we have Nathaniel in the middle, he will actually cleanse the decrease attack, which will overall improve our damage, our performance. Now, I do have my Psychic Core maxed, guys, because it's towards the end of the season. But how you may notice, I am overpowering this dungeon, right? Like, out of all the 4 of them, this is the easiest anyway, but you're gonna see that we are actually overpowering each one of them. And that's, of course, due to the fact that we have our Psychic Core maxed. But even earlier in the season, once you have these heroes built to like level 100, and you have the artifacts to like level 16 to 20, then you have the gear at max level, you are able to defeat these dungeons with the exact same team that I'm showing you right now. Now, this will change in Season 3. The elemental affinities will combine differently. We're not going to have lightning and poison anymore. We're going to have something different. In Season 1 is fire and poison. But the main key things that you need to bring in here is have at least 2 support heroes. Preferably 3, because you're going to be able to keep your team alive even better. Now, I do have Fredbart, which is a defensive unit, but I see him as a tank, as a support, because he's giving me all the healing, So I have Nathaniel, and I have, of course, Exandra. Support, in my eyes, doesn't mean to land decrease attack. Support is to heal the team, to buff the team, to kind of like help and keep the team alive. So that's exactly what we're doing with Fredbart, Nathaniel, and Exandra. And the other 2 damage dealers will be kept alive by the support units, and like this, we're gonna tackle pretty much any enemy. Nothing will stop us. We're gonna be unstoppable, basically, guys. Check this out. This is the second phase already, if I'm not mistaken, and how you may notice, we are really overpowering this. And I don't even have a serial set to gain the increased attack, which, by the way, will boost my damage even more and make this run faster than usual, Sigrid, she's an absolute monster. Literally the best rare champion, best rare hero in Dragonheir Silent Gods. Hands down. Curious to see if Season 3 brings in a contender to the throne. 1,200 legendary poems, of course. You're getting Affinity Solvent. You're getting some gold out of here. But Dungeon 1, tick. Let's move over to the second one. So we're going to go in the same order how you unlock them. And probably out of all of them, this might be one of the most challenging one, because this one, unlike the other one, does not allow us to basically group the heroes together. And I'm going to explain you why. So the Violet Dragon, guys, will deal more damage if your team is next to each other. So if you have your team grouped like this, you're going to get wrecked. The boss will deal so much damage because you're getting splash damage as well. That's a key tip right here, guys. Extra tip. So you want to actually spread your team around. Now, I have Nathaniel going straight next to Hexandra. That's not a problem whatsoever because they are both tanky heroes and they're going to survive. But if you have the rest of them close to each other, you're gonna be in trouble. So if your team was failing here and you had no idea why, that's the main reason why. Now, another thing I would suggest you, if you have the possibility to do it, is to bring in a hero that has attack down on the battle skill. the faster you put a tag down on this boss, the easier will be for you to sustain the team and keep it alive, you know. Now, in my team right here, I don't have that, so it's a bit of a difference, but having a shield from Nathaniel is going to be very, very impactful, you know, helping me to survive. And even if I'm taking a lot of damage, that shield will soak the damage for me, you know. So we killed the first phase, and you see how we are actually overpowering these bosses, every single one of them. If you are following the right recipe, you're going to be able to pretty much do the exact same thing. Further putting that defense down from the Crown of the Unclean. Beautiful. So you're going to get a stun here. It's not much that you can do about it. I wouldn't stress too much with that stun either. Right here, we got to make sure we have some damage to kill the side minions too, because each one of them will basically block all the incoming damage on the boss. So as long as we're not killing them, we're going to have issues. So we want to make sure we have some heroes that are capable to deal with the side minions too. You don't want them to be purely focused on the boss only, you know. But there you go. Once we have some debuffs on them, like right now, shame I actually haven't timed the ultimate on Sigrid, because she was gonna hit all 3 of the targets instead of just one, you know. But that was kind of like my thing that I haven't paid attention to do it. I want to let it go on auto. I don't necessarily want to have a timing for this, but how you may notice, they just died before Sigrid used her ultimate. We're going to have 2 more spawning at the back. Then this boss will have another phase, but how you may notice, we are literally in no danger whatsoever. Now, the Psychic Core will give me an additional 15% damage reduction, will give me some additional damage, which, how I mentioned, it really helps me to overpower all of these bosses. But even if we're not overpowering them, because we are literally in 0 danger, we're gonna be able to easily defeat this with the Psychic Core at half of the levels, you know, halfway through basically. So we have them. We have those 2 minions still alive for a little longer. I really thought that Yola was about to end them, but seems like it's not the case. There we go. She finally did it. So the boss is moving into the next phase here. You have the other 2 bosses, which are not that difficult. U-Tears. He was the very first legendary event in season 1, right? I wish they would buff a bit the champion, the hero. I just feel like he's just not useful enough, you know. Maybe some healing in his kit would be nice. That's definitely something that the Necrosis is lacking at the moment, to have some good support, you know. I love these cutscenes though, with the dragons. They really made very nice the dragons. They look pretty cool. So there we go. We have an angry dragon to defeat right now, guys. We have an angry dragon to defeat right now. So right here, it doesn't really necessarily matter how grouped your heroes are and what, but how you may notice, we're still getting the healing as I have them right here. They're all safe, so you don't necessarily need to group them all together. Frorbart is not moving in front to get to the boss here, so the healing spreads pretty much to all of them, you know. Let's see how we're looking with the damage. Sigrid, of course, she's at the top with 50%. You have Viola with 37%. Not too bad. Not too bad, actually. And you can run out of time if you don't have enough damage, but hey, that's still a long way. That's still a long way. We have 6 more minutes to go, and this boss is about to get wrecked, and he has no idea what hit him. Look at that. Look at that. You're just dropping them down. I really intended to do this video way earlier in the season, guys, but for whatever reason, pretty much almost every single week, I was messing it up and doing my dungeons before, you know. I always forget about it, and I haven't I haven't had a chance to do it before, you know. But there we go. So 1,600 poems this time around, and I'm at a point right now where I need to wait for the weekly reset before I can actually use them. let's head over to the next one. We have 2 more. So Gloomland Showdown. This was actually pretty challenging the very first time I've done it, but once I understood kind of like that I need to position my heroes in a more specific way as well, I was able to actually defeat this without a problem. So here, again, you can actually either group them together, you can separate them a little bit because you will have explosive orbs as well, you know. At the same time, I feel like Nathaniel is going to be more than fine right there. I have plenty of support for them. I'm quickly going to check if my food is still on. Seems like it's not, so let me just pop some more food. We have defense, accuracy for 10 more minutes, and this will enhance our stats, you know. We're still using the same aura, the defense aura. This boss is pretty tricky, so she will spawn these monsters behind us, you know, that we gotta make sure we're taking care of. At the same time, we gotta make sure we are landing the decrease attack on the boss too. Frorbart will usually turn around and attack the newly spawned enemies, you know, and that can be a bit tricky. Then you have some spiders coming out of it. The most annoying thing is when you have the exploding orbs, you know, because those, they do splash damage and they're pretty dangerous. Now, the boss will put a charm debuff on the ally with the highest attack. So you gotta make sure that that hero is not going to kill anyone in your own team, you know. Charmed is a very nasty debuff, and yeah, is going to be pretty challenging to keep everybody happy, you know. So we have one orb that will explode next to Nathaniel. That orb should be fine. I don't think it will kill Nathaniel because, how I mentioned, Nathaniel is a tankier hero. We're gonna have the shield up and running, and that should pretty much give us enough safety, I would say. There we go. Yola taking them down. You see a bit of damage. It broke the shield basically, so that's fine. But in the meantime, the boss is literally dead. So we're definitely clapping this boss with no second thoughts, guys. No second thoughts. So there we go. Spawning the rest of the monsters in there. And this sayonara. Game over. Game over. We have one more dungeon left, guys. So we're going to move over to dungeon number 4, actually. I was going to say number 3. We've just completed number 3. So we're heading over to number 4. 1 minute and 48 seconds. 1,200 poem pages right now. I think, if I remember correctly, one legendary scroll is 3,000, right? I might be wrong. I literally forgot that for a second, but I think it's 3,000. So we're gonna head over to the new one that was added in season 2, guys. The Battle of the Two Towers, and this one has a couple of different stages as well. Mithrasi, she's actually an awesome legendary hero. I cannot wait to summon a Mithrasi, guys. She is so good. Now here, this boss will be fairly challenging, but we can pretty much adopt the same sort of situation. We don't really care so much about the positioning. We don't really care of spreading the heroes too much either. So we can actually have them grouped together without any sort of issues, you know. Again, we're gonna keep the defense aura. We can set the timing on to make sure the decrease attack doesn't overlap constantly, and we're gonna keep it up on the bosses non-stop. Now, this again will put decrease attack on Frorbart. It's not going to be impactful. We don't really care about it. We do want to debuff the tentacles as well, guys, so we can actually damage them with Sigrid, you know. But this will constantly kind of like spawn around and try to basically lure our champions to them instead. Our heroes. There we go. Frorbart is a bit busy in the wrong area right there. There you go. That was a beautiful hit from Sigrid right there. Yola just dropped in with her ultimate right before that. The one thing to keep in mind with Nathaniel in most of these dungeons is that he's very effective, mainly because you have multiple targets. the more targets he hits, the bigger the shield, So that's gonna make our life much, much easier in general when we are actually using him in the team to shield us. So we're moving over to the second phase. Probably some of you guys maybe haven't even saw all of these dungeons. So right now you get to see basically how are all the cinematics and stuff. I actually like watching the cinematics on the bosses. So right now we got the big bad wolf. This looks like a nice looking boss. Really, really evil. I like the design on this one. This phase is pretty straightforward. You're getting recharge speed penalty. Of course, we have Nathaniel, which will bring in the cleanse. We have Frurbart, which will have a chance to cleanse with the passive. So we're not too worried about it, Decrease attack is mandatory in all of them, guys. Without decrease attack, you're really going to struggle most probably on some of these stages, just because the bosses tend to hit pretty hard, especially if you're not at a place where you're overpowering the bosses. We got some fear right there, which again is fine. We got some stuns, more recharge speed penalty, and you see the boss starts to actually deal more damage, especially when we don't have that decrease attack. But the cleanse comes in. I have no cleanse for control debuffs, so stun, fear, etc. We cannot actually dispel those ones. But when we're talking about recharge speed penalty, decrease attack, heal reduction, and the rest, we got that covered. What's really, really important, And there we go. Another one bites the dust. This is one team that can defeat all of these 4 dungeons without a problem, guys. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Sigrid, how I mentioned, the #1 rare champion in Dragonheir Silent Gods. 59.1% of the total damage was dealt by her. Let me just quickly show you the builds that I have on all of these heroes, guys. And I'm going to start, of course, with the team right here. This is an amazing feature that was added not a long time ago. Where is it? So it's much easier for me to access my teams rather than go and scrolling and find all the heroes. This is, of course, Yola. She is built with Inventor set. And I have the Incense Burner, how I mentioned. These are her total stats. Decent HP, defense, decentish attack. Of course, not insane attack. But we managed to get a full crit rate, a good amount of crit damage, and accuracy. Then moving over to the next hero, Frurbart. With the Crown of the Unclean on a Ancestral Protection set. We have good HP, good defense, 4.1k defense. The defense is very important on him because that's how he heals. Good accuracy, and we have a bit of skill haste. The skill haste will speed up how often he is using the battle skill too. Exandra on a Moonlight set with the Ordinary Gospel. You want to have some enlightenment, some attack for the battle skill, and the rest doesn't matter as much, guys, okay? Prioritize to get some of those stats. Of course, the more skill haste, the better, because that will help you. A Moonlight set will help you even more because you're going to get additional healing whenever you're using the ultimate skill. Then moving over to Nathaniel with the Antinias Tiara. You want to prioritize as much enlightenment on this hero as possible because the more enlightenment, the bigger the shield, okay? And of course, you want to have survivability on him. He's not built for damage. He doesn't require accuracy. The more skill haste, again, the better because he's going to offer you more support. Sigrid, an Inventor set. I do have a good amount of accuracy on her, and how I mentioned, I have the Ravatrix Roots. This is one of the free legendary artifact that you can get in Season 2 by defeating the Fey Mender. I have 40k HP, 4.5k attack, full crit rate, 114 crit damage, 200 accuracy. This artifact will basically double her stats that she gains from it. So instead of gaining 15% HP and 15% attack, because she's a rare hero, she's gonna get 30% HP and 30% attack, which is massive. That's, of course, one of the reasons why she was dealing so much damage too. But guys, that was all for today's video. This is one team that can pretty much challenge them all, and I can pretty much guarantee you that this team will work on most of the rest of the dungeons too. If you guys enjoyed what you've seen in today's video and you want to download and play Dragonheir Silent Gods, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description down below or in the pinned comment, or by scanning the QR code you see on the screen. Thanks again to Dragonheir for sponsoring today's video. Appreciate every single one of you guys watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.